John, you're obviously disappointed after that result, 4-1 defeat to Wigan Athletic.
Listen, you don't like getting beat. I've never liked getting beat, but what can you do when someone's better than you? Today they were, and there's no point bleating about it. They were better than us in every department today. Took the goals well. Really, this might sound crazy, but the goal that disappointed me most was the last. Because at 3-1, we've been constantly beaten, but 3-1 doesn't look that bad. 4-1 looks a lot worse than 3. And obviously it does your goal difference no good. And we just seemed on a mission to give that last goal away in the end. It was just kamikaze defending. Culminating in Ross trying to console the ball with his Adam's apple. You know, and I don't know what any of our defenders were thinking in the last 5 minutes. So that's disappointing me, but I can't complain about the result. They were far better than us, and sometimes that happens in football. You know, we've been used to defying the odds so long that people just think that it's the norm. And, you know, the harsh reality is their squad of players pitted against our squad of players. That should be the outcome. You know, and I've never been one to IBM money. I'm not going to start now, but you've got to point out the facts that 3 of their players will probably take all our squad and our 23's money put together. All their subs coming on will be on double our top earner. So you've got to take that into account. Now, we've brushed that aside so many times for the last, God knows how long, that people forget about it because you make such a good fist of it. But now and again you come across the team that's well organised. You know, Liam had drilled them really well. They were hungry, they were fit, they were strong, they handled the ball really well. So I've got no complaints about the score, and it could have been worse.
I mean, you know, Colby Bishop had such a good chance in the opening few minutes. It could have been a totally...
Yeah, well, it could have been a different game if we'd have kept it at 2-1 for a bit longer in the second half. But it's a stupid goal that we've given away. And that, you know, that rests them on, or puts them at ease. You know, they were showing signs in there. If our crowd were getting up ahead of steam as well. We were bombing down the right and putting balls in the box. I thought our crossing today was terrible. And that was one of the big differences today. Their crossing was a lot better. Ours was poor. The amount of times we hit the first man from open play and free kicks was borderline farcical, to be honest. And we set up a lot of attacks from our own free kicks. But today they were better than us. And, you know, we've got to find a way that when we compete with teams like that, we've got to get our strengths into play and hurt them. And we've got to keep them out. And today we were far too cheap with our defending. We've got to defend miles better than at the first goal. You know, we're normally really strong from set plays. We didn't engage with the first contact, and then we've lost the man for the second, and he's fired it in. I'm trying to remember the second goal. You know, it's doing me head, and I can't remember the second goal.
It was the cross from the...
Oh, the header,
yeah.
Yeah. And you know, if you're going to leave Will Keane with oceans of space, it reminded me of his brother's header for Everton against Burnley, funny enough. You can't concede goals like that. And, you know, for all our ends ever, you get knocked out the game, and we deserve knocked out the game, to be honest. They were miles better.
Is it a bit frustrating that it's Michael Nottingham having to take up the goal challenge at the moment? Well,
you know what? This will sound daft, but the pick of the strikers on the pitch today was Colby. Again, you know, I know Charlie White's come off with 2. He hasn't played half as well as Colby has. And he got better service. Sod's law that he was going to break his duck against us. I've lost count of the amount of times strikers have on a balanced spell and scored against us. But that it is what it is. We've just got to dust ourselves down now and go again. And try and compete to get back on track and start winning games, particularly at home. Great following from our fans, great atmosphere. Their fans were great as well. Made for a great occasion. But we've got to perform better than that on a big stage.
And lastly, I guess we've got to ask you about Dion Charles, because he wasn't in the squad altogether today. What's the reasoning behind it?
He was left out. I mean, you're not asking why Archie Proctor wasn't picked. You're not asking why Lewis Manson wasn't picked. Yeah, I know. I am being a bit cheerish there because he's been a regular starter, but until Dion realises that it's a two-way process, football, and you know, we've given him a massive lift up into his career, and he's got to show commitment to the club, and at this moment in time he's not. He's not shown commitment in the contractual side of it, and he's not showing commitments really in the games or in training. So, you know, it's not as if he was left up and you're leaving out a player who's in top form. He hasn't been in very good form by his own admission, I'd say that. And you know, it's easy to throw, you know, to cast doubt over the selection because Javan didn't do particularly well today. But then Sean went up front in the second half and made a difference. But we've got lads who are chomping at the bit to get in there, and Dion's got to realise that, you know, if he wants to play, he's got to show that he wants to play, and that is not just in games or signing contracts. It's how he conducts himself in training. And you know, since he's had 5 caps since he got the call up for the international squads. He's been to 3 now, and he scored 2 penalties for us. He hasn't scored a goal in open play in the league, and he's got to get back to focusing on his bread and butter, and that's playing for Accrington. And if he doesn't want to play for Accrington, he won't play for Accrington.
Is that just so frustrating for you because there's been he's been offered a contract and?
Well, I can only do what I can do. You know, I've got to try and do what's best for the club. Now you look at Colby Bishop. Colby Bishop had a chance to go in the window. We got a paltry offer for Dion at the last minute, which was a half-hearted one, which didn't really bear any semblance of an offer, and from a Scottish club. And it was Dion was away on international duty, so that was very highly unlikely he was going to get concluded that. And that was a 6:30 on the day of the Johnston's Paint, the Papa John's game. So, you know, you look at the way Colby's conducted himself since the deadline day. It's night and day. You know, he's been absolutely magnificent, and he was again today. And people who work hard get the just rewards. I've never treated any player badly, and I'm not going to start now. But players have got to realise, you know, what the bread and butter is all about, and they've got to be respectful to the teammates, and that'll get you in the team.
Finally, I guess Morecambe next, which is a good one to lift yourself back up for.
So, any game's a good game to lift yourself back up for, but we've got to play better. Certainly got to defend better. That defending today was back to the Wigan days. First game of the season. You know, it was kamikaze, and you know, we could have conceded 8 today, and no one could have complained. So that's why I'm not complaining about the results, because as they say in Ireland, we were hockeyed to the